Welcome, race fans, here to Freaky Fast Broadcasting on a Sunday night here, as we're proud to announce we're here with the 802 Cup Series here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. That's right, the 802 Cup Series, as they have made a name change this season for race number two, and it is now known, as you can see here on the screen, the 802 Cup Series. So awesome to see what action they'll bring to us this season. But tonight here we have the hot Atlanta 130 here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. What a race we have on store for us here as the Atlanta Motor Speedway. We know how tough and tricky it is, as it's still the old surface and tricky hot Atlanta as we used to know it as. But it's going to be a great race here tonight, folks. Thank you for tuning in. I am Zach Hall up in the booth. Joined alongside me calling the race tonight is going to be Brian Johnson, and we'll have always as our main man, the producer, Robert Moyer Jr. up here running the cameras and the sights and sounds here from the Atlanta Motor Speedway. But Brian back here for race number two, my friend. These guys have just entered into qualifying, and you know the beauty of this is we've got a brand new build here for these guys to learn. I think tires here we're going to see are a critical factor here tonight, as we seen, I think, believing last night at that Sunday night with that Cup Series race last night, or Saturday, sorry.
Yeah, Zach, you definitely beat me to it. That's exactly what I was going to talk about. Some a fairly large update to this car this past week from iRacing, and I gotta say it's a really good update. They changed aero, tire parameters, a little bit of the gearing, but I think tonight at Atlanta the big story tonight is going to be tires. These tires wear a lot more than they used to. We actually are seeing a lot of left rear wear now on these cars. So that's something that these guys are going to have to be aware of. And the other thing is that the fall off is consistent. We don't have that plateau anymore where, the cars lap to lap get slower, and then at some point they just run the same speed. Now it's we continuously get slower. So tire management is going to be more important than ever, especially at a track like Atlanta. And especially so with this league here tonight in this race, because they only have two sets in their pit box waiting for them during this race. So that means with that 60% fuel, we're going to be looking at these guys having to make some pit stops where they're not going to have to take tires, or they can't take tires because they don't have enough. So the strategy here tonight is definitely going to be way outside of the box from what we're used to seeing. And, I don't even really know where to begin at how you would manage the two sets of tires that you have.
It gets pretty tricky, Brian, I believe. And that's the thing that I think me and you were looking at before this race. You're saying, wow, three sets of tires total, with two, like you said, being in the pits there. And with a 60% fuel load that they have here in this Next Gen Cup Series here at the 802 Cup Series, it is really going to play a tricky spot, because we're looking at, these guys need to go around 43 to 44 laps on their tires to make them, work for a perfect split down the race, but they're not going to be able to do that fuel-wise. We're looking at most around 38 laps, we believe. So it is going to be very, very tough. We also got to throw in there competition caution at lap 35. A lot going on here for sure, but one thing that has come to a conclusion, that is our starting grid here tonight for the 802 Cup Series. As you're going to pull that up, you're going to see Luis Addison up top, on top of that board in the 20 car there, taking the pole position over Albert Reed and that 3 machine. In the second row, it's going to be Rob Lowe in that 21 machine with Gene Cato, and the 8 there starting alongside. 5th is going to go to Keith Fawn in the 24. 6th is going to go to Robert Tsuki. 7th is going to go to Jeff Barefoot. 8th is going to go to Jason Wiley in the 11th machine. 9th is going to go to Zach Scott, and rounding out that top 10 is the 54 of Jeffrey Belk.
And then 11th, you're going to have Joe Nelson in the 76. Art Greco in the 1 machine going to start 12th. Chris R. Otto in 13th there. Johnny Barker in 14th. Mike Killingbeck going to be starting 15th. Frank Norman in 16th. Marty Brown 17th. David Lamaga in 19th. And Eli Raposa going to round out the field here tonight in 18th position.
18 cars here at the 802 Cup Series here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway for race number 2 of their season, and 130 laps here under these hot conditions. And that's another thing that we could definitely talk about a little bit here, Brian, before we start to roll off that grid. We wait for our second place man there of Albert Reed, looks like, to still grid there. This track is fairly hot right now, as we're looking at about an 87 degree ambient temperature, partly cloudy with 119 degrees on track. That is scorching out there, as you can see up there, folks, on top. That is our weather conditions. And Brian, that's only going to play into factor of more fall off and more tire wear, I believe.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think you're gonna see some loose conditions here tonight, especially on exit. But the good thing is that looking at the NSIM time, we're kind of in the late afternoon portion of the day, so that track temperature shouldn't get much hotter. Maybe 5, 6 degrees hotter at most. So the good thing is what they're gonna deal with right now is probably gonna be the worst of it. But yeah, you're looking at some significant tire wear and tire temperatures happening if these guys push these cars way too hard. And that's something that we've always seen with Atlanta, but especially with this update, like we were talking about before. Um, it's not just about the right front tire temp anymore. It's about managing the right front, the right rear, and now the left rear as well. So, you have to be conscious of all four tires now.
All four tires, like you said, going to be in use here tonight as Atlanta Motor Speedways. Again, we still have the older surface on Atlanta. That plays into a lot of what we're going to be talking about tonight. The one of the oldest surfaces on iRacing here is this scan we have here, and man, it's seen its days here as we're still waiting for that new scan to come, which is really going to change up the racing here a lot. So this is going to be interesting to see, especially with this new build, Brian. That's the one thing I wanted to keep in factor is this new build here with this track. I think could really set up for some great racing. It's really going to depend what kind of grooves can be used. We've seen this track become one groove sometimes. It can become multi-groove though. Also, if those outer grooves can start working, we'll just have to really see once this race kicks off what will happen. As I believe we're going to have an extra pace lap here before we take the green.
Yeah, Zach, I think depending on how loose this car gets in the center of the corner and on exit, how loose it is there will depend on whether these guys kind of venture up into that top lane. Because that top lane, while it does wear out the rear tires more, you can feel a little bit more comfortable up top for a few laps with that car being a little bit more stable, not as loose, and you can get that massive run off the top line, especially coming out of two. So it'll be interesting to see tonight what these guys are gonna find out here on this really slick track with this new build.
New build and new things, new names, new everything here tonight at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. But I tell you what is not new is this old surface. So let's see how these drivers can get it done here for 130 laps. Got to remember also Mike Killenbeck in the 70 machine. He takes a penalty from Daytona. He starts at the rear of the field along with Eli Raposa in the 46. Both those drivers taking penalties to start at the back of the field here at Atlanta before we kick off this 130 laps. But Luis Addison up front in the 20 machine. He's going to have control of the field. Albert Reed in the 3 going to look to have a strong run here. Atlanta Knight starting alongside. We're going to get all this action going here in the next few moments as the pace car is in. And we're going to get ready for Barney, the flagman, to wave us away. And green flag is in the air. It's a great start from both front rows there. A lot of wheel spin throughout the field there, I see. So this grip here very, very low as they race side by side into one here for the lead, Brian.
Yeah, that wheel spin, I was not expecting to see that on these fresh tires, but with that amount of wheel spin, that just gives you everything you need to know about the grip level that these guys don't have here tonight. But going into turn 3, Albert Reed all over the back bumper of Addison right there as he's looking on the inside, trying to lead this first lap here.
Very interesting. All these drivers venturing up to the top side of 3 and 4. Actually, our third place man there, Rob Lowell, he gets up into the wall eventually and has to slide back a few car links there as he's going to have a little bit of a look there from Keith falling behind the 24, but they're going to hold on to position as now lead switched over to Albert Reed's hands in the 3. The question is, though, Brian, do you go too fast here too early? This place here is known to wear the tires so much, but it's showing right here. These drivers looking to run the outer groove here in 3s. We're checking out this 43 of Kalis here. That's of Zach Scott there in the 43. He's really making a move here on this inside of this machine on this outside and trying to move forward here in this 43. He started ninth, already up to 6th, but the thing is, could this be playing into the factor where he's pushing a little bit too hard? Will he burn his tires up? We'll have to see, because that is the new thing with this build is we got a car on the back straightaway all sideways, but he saves it. I don't know who that was back there. Slow car dropping back, as you're going to see there. Very, very good save from that 76 of Joe Nelson. He drops back from that ninth position, Brian, but he's going to be well behind the field now.
Yeah, I think, after the race, it'll be interesting to talk to our top three about just how this car drives. But with these guys running this top lane like they are, I'd have to imagine that the car, it's got to be fairly loose on exit down at the bottom. And so they don't want to venture down there. You can, maybe they're having a bit more luck keeping that momentum up on those upper grooves. But what that does mean is if the preferred lane is up top, once these tires wear out and, the pecking order kind of starts getting mixed up here and guys start making their way through the field, that leaves open an opportunity for us to see some slide jobs.
Oh, no doubt indeed. But this is the Hornet's Nest back here as well, with some close contact almost between the 54 of Jeffrey Belk and the 21 of Rob Lowell as they get on the back straightaway. I've really been watching that 21 of Rob Lowell. He has been dropping back mighty quick here in these beginning portions of these laps. But, from talking to Rob in our just talks we've had throughout the season already, myself and him, he is the driver that said he will give up the early time to get back that time. So this build here, could play right into his style. He is definitely dropping back here, losing spots from that third starting spot. But we'll see, does it come back around here as these tires begin to wear for the drivers up front, as he's lost about 2 seconds now to our leader.
Yeah, I think with that 21 of Rob there, qualified third, so he obviously has the pace around this track. He knows how to get around this place. He can be quick. So with him falling back right now, I'm not too worried because all this means to me right now is that he's saving tires. And if this thing goes green here with about, 10 to go into our competition caution, so right around lap 25, that's when he's going to start making these gains back. And, hopefully, ideally, he ends up someplace higher than third position.
That would be the end goal for sure, indeed. And the thing I'm seeing is differences in speed between a lot of group of drivers. We have Barefoot, who now has driven himself up into the top three, up into the second position from the seventh starting spot, and now we're gonna have Zach Scott in the 43, even trying to make his way into the top three from that third, from the ninth starting position. Chris Otto up to fifth from the 13th starting position. Jeffrey Belk from 10th up to sixth. I mean, we're getting seeing a lot of drivers moving forward here, but I think this is a case of really, really just the tires. These drivers using them up. We'll see if some of these drivers who qualified ahead, will they start to come back, or is this just the case of some drivers finding a little bit of pace here in the race? But we'll have to see. That's the beauty of this new package. It's kind of the unknown for everybody.
Yeah, so I mean, there's kind of two base philosophies when it comes to managing tires. You could do what the three did. Albert Reed, granted, he started in second, but his philosophy, I think, at the beginning of this race is let me push my car to the lead, and then that's when I can save tires. And I think that's what you're seeing out of the 43 of Zach Scott and the 7 of Chris Otto. Started ninth, started 13th, and already in the top 5. So these guys, they're like, let me get as many positions as I can and then manage the tires once I kind of find where I'm running speed-wise, right? So that's one philosophy. Then the other philosophy is let me start out by saving. I'll let all these guys go and I'll run them down later. So that's kind of the two, basic ways you can manage these tires. And, depending on your driving style and where you're starting and track conditions and, the whole list of things, it kind of depends on what is going to work best for you. It's all about, what you think is going to work best for you and, what gets that result.
Yeah, what gets that result is what is really going to matter for sure. Is we're nearing that lap 35 competition caution here tonight for our 130 lap event. We're riding on board this 7. You can see a little bit of wiggle. That's because he was on the inside of our pole setter, Luis Addison, trying to take that third position. And this 7 not giving up, started 13th. And look at this, a lot of guys really washing up that top side. Barefoot had to really back out and not to get in the wall. That allows the 7 to get a 2-for-1 deal, as now it stacks up the group behind him. Great job from Casado from 13th up to the second position. We'll see if that can continue for that driver as he's making time on Albert Reed.
Yeah, I gotta say the 99 and the 43 right now, both of them running that really, outside lane right there, and they're both falling back. So I don't know if, maybe running that outside lane has kind of hurt them some. But, we see the 54 right here of Jeffrey Belk. He's making that inside lane work, and he's getting some positions from it.
Yeah, definitely making that inside lane work, and that's usually the preferred groove around here. I mean, Atlanta is known to have a higher groove that works, but that bottom white line, painting the white line, as they like to say it here, has always been, a definite tried and true way to get around this track. But it's just not seeming that way for this group here tonight. They are looking for other ways to get speed. But this is some great racing we're seeing from this group here, really from that third, or really from that fourth position on back, as Belk is continuing to try to make that happen there on the bottom of Barefoot, but just cannot get that done. There is looks like actually, sorry, that's Scott there in the 43. They're trying to get it done. Is this group behind him there, Keith Fallen and Robert, and then the 28 of Tsuki is really coming right up into this picture. A little loose there from the 28 as he comes off the corner trying to make that move up on that number 99.
Yeah, and one thing I noticed, Zach, last week running a bunch of laps at Homestead, and I'm sure some of this kind of can relate to Atlanta as well, is when you get back onto the throttle, you got to be really smooth now. Before you could kind of stomp on it, and you didn't have to have a lot of throttle control, but now especially once the tires wear, and that's kind of the part of the run we're in now, where you have to be really conscious about what you're doing with your right foot, what that throttle pedal is doing. You've got to be ultra smooth, and you don't want to go past the point of no return where the rear end starts slipping out from underneath you. So, these guys really got to pay attention to what they're doing with the right foot.
Well, I just seen our first almost victim of tire wear kicking in. That's the 7 of Chris Otto. He's dropped back from the second position to the fourth as we're watching all this group back here. He's going to fall in the clutches of these guys if he's not careful, because now he's behind this front group as he's starting to get a little bit loose off the exit corners, and that's kind of what we've been seeing with this next gen and this newer build. It goes very, very loose here, at least at the Atlanta and Homestead speedways, where we've seen a little bit of experience here at Freaky Fast from the past 2 nights of Cup Series racing. But man, oh man, Otto there trying to hold on to his race car. He's dropping back very quickly into the clutches of this group here behind, with the 24 Keith Fallen leading his. And the one driver I've really been watching to make the moves is the 21 Rob Lowe. He was back in the 15th position at one point, now trying to get back into the top 8. He's underneath the 70 as they're coming off of 2. And there you can see he's that front car in that lead line up there ahead. Just wasn't able to make that work. They're going to have to try another attempt at it as he got a little bit tight, I seen there on the bottom, while underneath that car up ahead.
Yeah, the lowest I had seen him was in 13th place, and I was kind of getting to the point where I was a little worried about him. I was like, right now is about the time when he needs to start, picking these guys back off, and sure enough, that's what he's doing right now. But in the midst of while we were looking at that, we did have a lead change. Mr. Addison up there in the 20 car was able to pass Albert Reed in the 3, and now he's got the 54 of Jeffrey Belk right on his bumper. So the top 3 guys right now kind of under a blanket.
Yeah, and I like what we've seen so far as this battle comes back from the 3, trying to stick it to the inside. It's very interesting to see them running that outer groove. It just does not seem very good up there. It seems like everybody on the bottom is able to turn a lot better, so you would think they'd look to go down there, but very close action between those two for the lead there as they stay side by side. But now Addison going to be able to definitely clear here off of turn 2 as they do. They're going down the back straightaway. We kind of seen 2 completely different tells of the tape with our top 3 in qualifying. You see Luis Addison qualify on pole, immediately give the lead up, and he kind of did a little bit more of a medium save. He dropped back to around the 5th position, didn't go back too far, about a second to 2 seconds behind our leader, and has charged his way back up here now as Albert Reed's going to get overtaken from the 54, Jeffrey Belk here, possibly as they go down to 1. But I mean, you look at the other case of it, Rob Lowell, he dropped all the way back to 14th. He's now stuck back in that 8th position. And I think he might have dropped back a little too far, doing a little too much saving, as I can see some action firing back here in this pack. It is getting a little wild as they got a few guys getting loose here and bouncing off the walls.
Yeah, right now I'm really liking the pace of that 20 car Addison. Like you said, Zach fell back to 5th and now is working his way, or has worked his way back up to the lead. So I like that pace, considering that we're going to have that caution on lap 35. But the real telltale sign is going to be where Rob Lowell gets up to. He had that massive tire saving as we have a caution here, so all of this tire talk doesn't matter.
I'll throw all of that out the window, but still got to think about it because we don't have many sets. And look at this, the 46 here, trying to get that car going. It's tough to climb up that bank in there, that slow speed. And luckily gets it going, but I think he has definitely got a broken rear end here, and that's why you're seeing that car have a struggle going up the bank not only, and also to keep it straight. 46 Eli Raposa, he's gonna have to most likely tow here. This is yeah, there you see it. Finally gets the tow done and pulls his car back to pit road. That's gonna be a big loss there for him, as we got two fast repairs that he would have been able to get back from that, but now gonna lose the time from towing as we're watching the 46 here. We're gonna see exactly what happened. It looks like in the trial, that thing just breaks dead right for him, and that was a heavy, heavy collision. And you're seeing right here the starts of the new damage mountain. Oh, the 72 comes in of Frank Norman and just nails him in the driver's side door. And what a hit there! And that's we're getting to see the new display of the new iRacing damage model, Brian. And I tell you what, looking pretty impressive for these damage models, and a lot less forgiving, I would say. I mean, it's got its chances where you can make contact, but it also has its moments where you can break your stuff. So you break your suspension. You're gonna see here that hit again here from Frank Norman. He sees him bounce off the wall, nowhere for him to go, and look at this hard hit right into the driver's side door, breaks the left front on that car. And man, oh man, Brian, that damage model is wild.
Yeah, that is one thing that we did kind of forget to talk about, which is kind of important, is this new damage model on the next gen car. And you're right, Zach. It depends on the type of damage, as far as whether it's forgiving or not. You know, the little taps against the wall where you would crinkle your right front and then all of your aero would be, messed up for the rest of the race. That's gone. You can, these light taps now don't really damage this car at all, which is, a good representation of what these cars do in real life. But if you have some heavy hits like we've just seen, it is detrimental. And without those fast repairs, it's pretty much race ending, because you're talking about broken tires and bumpers missing, and it takes a lot of time to get that required damage fixed. So yeah, in some ways the new damage model is more forgiving, and in other ways it is very brutal.
Very, very brutal indeed, and love to see how long it takes that 46 to get back on track. He's waiting for a tow. Same, I believe, for Frank Norman. Both those drivers now going to be going 2 laps down here when the pace car crosses by the line here this time. And man, oh man, this is a tough break for those guys sitting still in the pit road. But different strategies played out here, Brian. Big, big decisions were made, and it looks like it's going to shake this field up here for a little bit. I believe Albert Reed, first driver to come to pit road. All these drivers just coming down for fuel, and I kind of like that call. I mean, if you feel like your car was a little bit tight there, possibly come here, get some fuel in the car. It should help loosen that balance up, shift the weight a little bit for that balance, and you could possibly be in a good position. We'll just have to see how that changes up. But Luis Addison going to start here with the lead.
Yeah, I think not taking tires is the right call at this point. You don't want to take one of your two sets for the whole race on lap 24. So, and more fuel never ever hurts. That can open up some doors down the road potentially. So, yeah, no tires right now. They're not going to help you out.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see, when we come for that next stop here at the stage, will they not take tires again due to us only having two sets? And will that be the chance for them to gain time by taking less fuel on pit road? We'll see how it all shakes out here. Pace car going to take the left-hand turn down the pit road, and we're going to be looking to go into the Geico restart zone. Green flag is in the air, off and away, Luis Addison, but we're seeing a lot of wheel spin from these guys. That's just showing the wear all these tires and what they're going to have to do to keep them under your feet. But right now, it's going to be Luis Addison through 1 and 2 with a great lead out front. But Rob Lowell, we talked about how much he saved. He's up to second now with that caution.
Yeah, I gotta say, with all that wheel spin, that kind of, separated the field pretty good there. We're already pretty spread out, which, depending on how you look at it, is pretty nice. But, yeah, Rob Lowell doing a great job back up to where he started after all of that tire saving. So I think he's going to be the one to watch and see if he can grab this lead before the competition caution.
Look at this here. He goes looking to the inside. Rob Lowell showing some pace here late in the going, and this is what he told us directly, is watch out for him as the runs go on. But it's looking like, oh, Luis Addison almost up into the wall, but keeps that car out of it as we're heading down the back straightaway. The subway car definitely living on the edge there, down in 1 and 2. But again, up here on the top side, 1 and 2 of 3 and 4, these guys are doing as they run through there. They get very, very tight looking from these race cars. So I don't know if they're fighting front grip most of the run or just rear grip. So it might be a little bit of a tight snap here for these guys, for the guys who at least start to get loose.
Yeah, it's really hard to tell from up here without being in the car. And with Atlanta, you never really know. Depending on the setup and which way the wind's blowing, you could either be very, very tight or very, very loose. But one thing that we hadn't talked about as well is these aero changes to these next gen cars. Whereas used to seem like the dirty air, it kind of came with us over from the Gen 6 car, which is if you were in the dirty air, your car is just going to be plowing tight. And that's, pretty much all you got with the dirty air. But now it seems like it's changed a little bit. The dirty air isn't as bad, but if the car tends to be tight, then being in that dirty air is going to make it lean just a tad more tight. And if the car is a little bit inherently loose, the dirty air is going to make you just that little bit more loose. So the dirty air I think is a bit more accurate, and it's not as bad at the same time. So that does lead to better racing. And as you can see, Rob Lowell has elected to try to get as much clean air as he can, running a different line than that 20 car up there. And, we'll have to see if he's still saving right now or if he just doesn't have anything for that 20 car.
Yeah, we'll have to definitely see how that all plays out there for this group. But again, everybody looking to run a little bit of a different line there, middle of 3 and 4 for this group back here in the 3rd position. This is going to be on board with a 6 of Johnny Baker, worked his way up from the 14th position up to the 3rd here. Great run for him here. As when we cross the line next time by, it's going to be 5 to go in the stage. Will Rob Lowe have enough as we're watching this battle up front here unfold?
Yeah, I think at this point, with coming to 5 to go, I feel like if he had something, he'd start using it by now. So it may just be a thing of where that caution, under that caution, that 20 car, Mr. Addison there, he was able to get his tires cooled off, and that kind of leveled the playing field between the 21's tires and the 20's tires. So that might be what we're seeing, or it could be that Rob had to use too much tire getting back through the field. So then he has to, think to himself, well, what adjustments do I have to make to where I can save a good amount of tires still, but not lose that many positions. So that's, and it's not just him. Everybody in this field tonight has, has to make adjustments to how they're managing these tires as the race goes on, or, they're going to fall behind.
And here we hop on board with Jason Wiley back here in the top 10 position of 10th as he looks behind the 7 of Chris Otto here, trying to maybe make something happen. He's also got Killenbeck directly up ahead in the 70 machine. So 8th to 10th here for this group. As you can see, Killenbeck, major wiggle here as these guys are going to try to go by him now as he's lost his momentum. But I think Killenbeck going to be able to charge back around the outside here and see if he can fight for the spot with this number 11 machine. As they come off of 4, it's going to be the 11 trying to take the position here in the final few laps before we get the competition caution. Remember, this is no stage caution, so won't be awarding points or no such as that, but just a competition caution there at lap 35 to bring the field all back together and see what they got underneath them as we continue to put laps down. This group continues to race.
Yeah, this isn't a stage caution, so like you said, Zach, no points awarded at the end of lap 35, but you still want to try to pass as many cars as you can to get that track position, because even though with all of these updates that we have to this next-gen car, and, it's a lot more racy, you can make passes happen a little bit easier, track position never, ever, ever hurts. So these guys definitely want to push and try to get as many positions as they can in these final 2 laps.
Track position is king, that's for sure, man, in this stock car racing business. But this group here continues to battle. We're going to be coming by this time right here as they're going to complete lap 34 and have 1 lap to go here before we got our competition caution here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway as Luis Addison leads us off into turn 1. And nope, there's the caution this time. So going to throw it at the start of lap 35 here for the competition caution. That's going to bring our 2nd yellow out of the night as these guys are going to probably look to get some type of service done. That's going to be the question, is what type of service do they want to get done? Do they want to take fuel only? Do they take tires here at this stop? This is a critical decision that this group's going to have to come up to as they look to catch up to the pace car. We're going to get ready to head to our first commercial break of the night here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting to bring all the action here at the 802 Cup Series. Thank you all for tuning in here for our first 35 laps. We'll be back here to cover the final 100. Don't go nowhere.
Drivers, start your engines!
4, 3, 2, 1, green screen. No layer grip whatsoever. Up sideways. Sideways everywhere. Come on, man. Do what you can. The vibration in this car is the worst vibration that I've ever had, and the shifter's broken again.
Welcome back, everyone. We're back from our commercial break. Had to pay the bills here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. But, man, back here after our competition caution, we've had a mixed bag of strategies. Our leader from that beginning run, Luis Addison, He's going to restart back in 11th. He takes tires back, starting back there. So we'll see the group with tires really starting to charge through the field. Albert Reed up front, Mike Killenbeck out along with him in the 3 and the 70. Our front row still on the same set of tires they started this race, and this is going to be interesting. At some point, the 11, the 20 is going to have to take his tires long too. Just not enough time to really get the tires in. So we'll see how they can make this work here as the pace car is going to pull in. We're getting ready to go back green flag racing here at the 802 Cup Series. Green flag is out. We're back off and away as Albert Reed is going to shoot to the lead here. As again, everybody very light on the gas as they try to put the power down to those old good years.
Yeah, I tell you what, that wheel spin looks deadly out there with those guys on old tires. But, Albert Reed able to make it work, able to keep the lead, but got to keep an eye on that 20 car in the back. New tires, how quick is he going to pick these guys off?
How quick can these tires last, and how quick can they go by them? I think is going to be the question. You're seeing a big move being made by the 7 of Chris Otto. He's the one on the charge. We've seen him earlier in the race really charge his way up through the field, and again electing to do the same thing here. So definitely looking to use up what good tires he has here as he slides up the racetrack, brings it back down there to try to make the pass here up on the high line around this group. And we'll see a little bit of stack up there as they come up the corner. He thought about sticking it 3 wide there for a moment down the back straightaway, thinks better of it now as they head off into 3 and 4. The new tires, though, showing dividends.
Yeah, and if you're one of these guys that elected not to take tires under that caution, you're liking what you're seeing, because if the race plays out in your favor, you're going to be in the same position that these guys with new tires are in now, but with 20 to go. So, I'm kind of with those guys that elected not to take tires. I think you'd rather have that tire advantage later in the race than right now. But like I said earlier, track position can pay off if you get some timely cautions.
Timely cautions will indeed be interesting to see how those shake out in the field here. But the driver really took advantage of this new tire. Jeffrey Belk is off and gone. Opens up a 2.5 lead there, taking the lead on that last lap, and he is flying as now Zach Scott takes his way up to second. It's going to be Art Greco up to third. Chris Otto there, big moment for him as he slides back. That's going to Elise Addison back up to fourth, and now Jeff Barefoot here looking to break back into the top 5 as Albert Reed holds on to that 7th position there behind this group, and really is that first car on the older set of tires proving to be the leader of that group on that track.
Yeah, and I'd have to imagine that even though these guys are, pretty even on the fuel, that, the guys that are in the situation like the 3 cars, so Albert Reed, Mike Killingbeck, those guys, I'd have to imagine they're going to come down to pit road earlier than these guys on fresh tires, just based off of the tire wear. I have a feeling that these tires aren't going to be able to make it this full tank.
Have that same gut feeling too here, Brian. We should definitely be seeing high wear at this racetrack. This place has always been known to take the Goodyear tire and just destroy it. We'll have to see if that is in fact the case, as we're looking at Marty Brown right here up from that 17th starting position up to 11th in that NERS number 47 machine, looking good out there tonight. As look at this group back here. This is a good little battle here. So you got Robert in the 28 there with Gene Cato up ahead of him in the 8, but Rob Lowell's there in the 21. The 6 of Johnny Baker was up in 3rd at one point. David Lamaga right there also. And then you have the lap car there, Eli Raposa, who's 2 laps down after rebounding from that early collision into the outside wall.
Yeah, and like we seen last week. Now, granted, it was Daytona, so a bit of a different situation than we have here tonight. But several guys last week were 1-2 laps down and able to battle back and get back on the lead lap, and had some pretty good finishes for themselves. So finally, Eli Raposa, got to think about last week and how that situation worked out for those guys. Race isn't over yet; still got several laps to go.
Several laps indeed still to go in this race, but man, it's already definitely unfolding very interestingly, because just the strategies. I think when we saw the tire, the amount of tires we had in this race, me and you immediately I thought this race is going to be very interesting. It's going to be more about how well you plan your race than I would say even how you race your race. This is more of one of those races where you're going to have to bring both aspects. Not only you're going to have to be the best driver out there tonight, but you're going to have to be the best strategist also, Brian.
Yeah, you are, and you know, unfortunately, like with every race, you don't know what strategy is going to work up until the checker flag flies. So you know, just got to take your best educated guess, and you know, use a little bit of that experience that you have, and try to make it work. But you know, looking at the leader right now, Jeffrey Belk, already 3.5 seconds. Well, but now it's almost a 4 second lead for him. So, you know, I'd have to wonder about, you know, his pace right now, because he is one of those guys that came down, took tires, and right now, I mean, he is just putting down some flyers. So, you know, at some point, one of his runs on one of his sets of tires is going to have to go long, and you know, I think you know, running those quick laps like he is right now, got to be a little bit concerned with that tire wear.
Yeah, the concern will definitely be there with tire wear as we're looking at this group. This is the leader right here of the group that has yet to pit. Albert Reed, Keith Fallen here. Both these drivers in 8th and 9th. And you got Marty Brown there directly behind him. And these guys have not took tires here. So they're still in a good spot, but they are 13 seconds back from the lead. And that just shows you this new build. It is tire wear city. Tires fall off. We no longer are going to hear that word, the plateauing effect of tires, where we get to that same certain lap time and drivers seem to hit it over and over again. These tires continually, continually to degrade before they fail. And then, you know, you know, I'm happy to see this, Brian. This has definitely brought back some great strategies and some, you know, different driving styles that some drivers, I felt like, you know, this was their strength, was being able to, you know, pace themselves and make the tires last. Now we'll be able to see that same exact strategy and same driving style come back to the forefront.
Well, you're exactly right, Zach, because you know, in the Gen 6 days and in the early days of this next gen car, you were kind of really put in a box as to how you could drive and what your strategy was, and you know, so your race was kind of, you know, it felt like 40% of it was kind of already decided for you. But now with these new tire parameters, these aero updates, and just the way this car drives now and the way the tires react to wear and temperature, you're exactly right. This really opens the door to a lot of different driving styles and different strategies, which is exactly what we want to see. You know, the winner of the race isn't always necessarily the guy that can put down the fastest lap every single lap. Sometimes it's the guy that's just you know, a little bit smarter than everybody else, and can kind of predict what these tires are going to do, what the fuel levels are, how far you can go. So it's really good to kind of have a box that's wide open now. But yeah, Jeffrey Belk up to a 4 second lead, lost a little bit of that gap over the past couple laps, but you know, looking back to the 3 car of Albert Reed here, first car that has not taken tires yet. You know, he's 19 seconds off of the lead now, off of the leader now. So really got to think about you know, when do you pit here? Because you don't want to put yourself in a situation where when you pit under green here, putting yourself down 2 laps. You know, usually when you pit under green flag, you're not that far behind from the leader, so you only lose 1 lap. But being this far behind, I think you're at a you know, you have to think about, you know, do I really want to be 2 laps down? So these guys, you know, looking at 55 laps on the tires right now. So, I mean, that's a lot of laps. So I'd have to imagine these guys, you know, with these older tires, they can't really go that much further. But only time will tell as to when they decide to come down pit road. And the other thing about it is that when these guys do decide to come down pit road, is they're going to be on the fresher tires, and then these guys that took tires at the competition caution, now they're on the older tires. So we're going to see that speed difference, you know, shift and flip flop. And you know, I think if you're these guys on these older tires, when you come down, get those new tires, I think you really got to go out there and you know, really kind of push the limits of your speed and try to get as much time back as you can. even though at that point, everybody's only going to have one set of tires left. So, like I said earlier, all of these guys at some point are going to have to go long on their tires. And it seems like for guys like Gene Cato, Albert Reed, Mike Killingbeck, David Lamaga, and Keith Fallen, they're choosing to do their long run on the tires early in the race, which I think is smart. I think it's better to have those shorter runs on those newer tires later in the race.
I think you're exactly right, Brian. Sorry to leave you hanging there for a minute, man. I definitely, it's unfortunate when you start talking and then you find out you're muted. But yeah, I was going to bring up a point too, a great point that I feel like you could bring to the fans at home too, Brian. Is we had that competition caution at lap 35, and we really as drivers, I feel like that is a great thing to learn from. To get that free caution, to go out there and push your car, it's coming, and you can go out there and drive a certain way to see how that is going to work for the later race. And then I think the key to that after that is the adaptation of a driver. As we're watching some great battle of this group back here, how do you adapt as a driver from one caution to the next? Because in that competition caution is, I feel like that's an experimental time for these drivers, and it can be something that could really come back in the race to really play out to help you.
Yeah, well, I think going into a race, you have to have an idea of what you think you have to do to get the finish that you want. But at the same time, knowing that you have that caution at lap 35, that first run right there gives you the opportunity to try something that isn't what you go into the race and knowing what's going to get you that result. You can try to do something different. You can go out there and push the tires to the limit and really roast them, and then get a good idea of, okay, well, if I push really, really hard, this is how long this speed lasts. So then you can use that later in the race. And then part of that first run, and really just kind of throughout the whole race, is you talk about adaptability. Well, if somebody passes you and now you're running behind them and they're faster than you, well, try to duplicate what they're doing, as it looks like we're going to have somebody come down pit road this lap. But trying to duplicate a faster guy is probably one of the best ways you can get better as a driver.
I completely agree with you. I mean, you learn from your competition out there. As we're looking at Rob Lowell coming off of pit road for his stop. I think this is about in the range where you'll want to come down, Brian. I mean, if you think about it right here, this is under that 80 to go point, and a little bit of quick math done by you before the race, we're looking at about 38 laps. I'd say that's right in the range. There's splitting that in half, and if you're a guy that still has two sets of tires in pit road, I think you'll want to be able to split as well as possible that run into halves. So we'll see, when does that group of the three elect to come down, because that was the group that was leading the way on the older set of tires. We'll have to really see how it all shakes out. But I can tell you what, that leader, Jeffrey Belk, he opened up a giant lead. He was almost up to 4.5 seconds at some point. Now that lead down to 3.7, but it's not closing in that much. The driver that's actually closing in the majority of that is Luis Addison, who's actually a little bit stuck now behind Art Greco as we look up to this battle here. They're going to have new tires coming on the inside with Johnny Baker, and 3 wide up top. It's going to be Luis Addison making the pass there for third on Art Greco.
Yeah, and one thing I noticed, Zach, is something I mentioned a little bit ago, is that, these guys that just pit, they're 2 laps down now, so they have a lot of ground to make up here on these fresh tires. And, I think the only way that this works out for them is if we go green. I think any caution at this point is really going to mess up their strategy, because they really need that other group of guys that took tires on lap 35. They really need them to have that long run on those old tires. So these guys, gotta hope for green flag laps.
Yeah, they really do need to hope for green flag laps, because at some point this is going to come back around. We've seen these huge gaps, but at some point, we're looking at Luis Addison here, for example, in this 20. He's not going to be able to take tires when he comes in this next time, unless he wants to do it again this time. The strategy could be here. You take tires again at this stop here, stretch as long as you possibly can, take tires here, go as long as you possibly can again, come down for a splash of fuel at the end. I think that's possibly going to be the way they go for these guys, but we'll really have to see once this all unfolds, man. This is going to be a interesting strategy book, and it's something I don't think we'll know till we get into this final 10 laps. So really, what's going to play out?
Yeah, I'm just thinking through all of these different strategies and all of these paces going, and all I hear is the dial-up sound in my brain trying to calculate all of this because there's so many things going on right now that it's really hard to tell which strategy is going to work out at this point.
Yeah, strategy galore here tonight. That's for sure. We got that all over the place. And, we talked a lot about tires. We talked a lot about, saving those tires. Well, we got some great sponsors out there that could possibly bring you the products that help you save those tires. And one of those is ButtKicker. ButtKicker is so amazing. It immerses you out there on the racetracks, makes you feel the bumps, the sights, the sounds out there on the tracks. And man, even when the tires break loose, you can feel the rumble in your ButtKicker gamer too. So make sure you head on over to ButtKicker.com. You can use our promo code FreakyFast20 to get 20% off of any purchase there at ButtKicker. I tell you what, you're definitely not going to miss out once you get that. That's going to help you definitely try to save those tires throughout this race here tonight. So go make sure you check out ButtKicker.com if you're trying to make those tires last and immerse yourself in your sim rig. Also, got to give a shout to Advanced Sim Racing. Man, what a great sponsor they also are. They are almost like the eBay of sim racing. They got everything you can want. Chassis, rigs, monitor stands, racing equipment such as wheelbases, wheels, pedals, anything you can need in sim racing. Advanced Sim Racing has it. So make sure you head on over there to advancedsimracing.com. Use that promo code FreakyFast5, and you can get 5% off of some ASR branded equipment. So make sure you head on over to Advanced Sim Racing, and thank you to ASR for being a proud sponsor. Oh, I see some action on the track. The 28 goes around a Robert Tasuki on the back straightaway. He actually had a little bit of contact from Luis Addison, our third place driver. He's trying to get this car back going, but it's just sitting there. He's going to actually back up now, try to get it back going forward here, hopefully, and get that car back straight. We're going to stay green here, Brian. That right there could have been a game changer.
Oh, absolutely, because any of the guys that are a lap down definitely do not want to see a caution at this point. And I think if, you're Albert Reed, Keith Fallen right at the tail end of the lead lap, you don't want to see that either. Like I said, they want to see green flag laps. So unfortunate set of circumstances for that 28 car, but he's going to right around the apron, look like he's going to come down pit road, get some fresh tires there if he has any left at this point, and continue on.
Yeah, it looks like he might have hit that cone on entry there also, so possibly could be looking at a black flag. Isn't showing on our side yet that he has got any type of penalty, but he'll bring that 28 down the pit road for service, and just a little bit of contact from our third place man, Luis Addison, and that's all it takes there is it's a little bit of contact. And right now it's continuing to be Jeffrey Belkin. I am so impressed with Belt because he ran so hard at the beginning of this run to get out to this lead. I thought Zach Scott, Luis Addison, Art Greco, all these guys who would kind of just rode back there would have ran up to him by now, but he has kind of solidified this lead here around 4 seconds, and he's done a great job. Jeffrey Belk here from that 10th starting spot looking to be possibly a race winner here in race number 2.
Yeah, at the beginning of this run, he definitely put on the afterburners as soon as he got into the lead. And, I was very concerned for his tire wear and his tire temps. I thought that he was, eventually going to start falling back to about, maybe 3rd, 4th place. But he's done a very good job of, able to build that lead, and now has kept it. And actually just put 2 tenths on it last lap. So, yeah, I guess he, pushed at that early part of the run and then kind of, backed off and was able to manage for the middle part and the late part of the run here. But one thing that, I don't think I've seen that 3 car come down pit road. So, kind of wondering when he is, unless I missed it.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see when Albert does hit pit road there, because still has yet to hit it. So he's out there continuing to make laps. And the one thing I was interested in is we had the number 20 come down to pit road to Luis Addison, and he came out of pit road, and I'm gonna tell you, he got very, very lucky. I do not know how that driver did not get a unsafe exiting pit, because man, he had both right side tires right on the exit of the pit road, and it didn't give it to him. I mean, normally that would be a penalty, and somehow he gets very, very lucky because he clearly is 2 tires over and does not get a penalty. So lucky turn of events there for Lisa Addison, and I think that time there, yeah, no tires for him that time. So he elects to take no tires here. We're going to see he'll probably take it to the point right where he knows he can pit for fuel to make it to the end and put those last set of tires on.
Yeah, so I'd imagine that's probably going to be right around probably about lap 95 is when I feel like you can comfortably make it to the end on fuel. So that's going to be in about 20 laps. So, not too much farther on this set of tires here. But just kind of looking right now, I'm paying attention to this 3-car of Albert Reed because he was our leader of those cars on older tires there at the beginning of this run. And, last lap, he ran a 34.595. And Jeffrey Belk, who is actually now just coming onto pit road, his last lap was a 34. So you're talking about a half a second difference between the guys that pitted for tires on lap 35 and the guys that haven't come in for tires yet.
It does look like these guys are able to keep it with somewhat decent pace with that older tires. So it'll be interesting to see. And I tell you what, Belk right now, he's come down the pit road. He's put right side tires up. We'll see that the left side is jacked up. Yes, he does. So he's going for the alternate strategy of put tires on now, run it as far as possible. Then we'll possibly see him take some fuel just to splash there at the end. And I'm sitting here watching him. He's still sitting here on pit road. This is not good. He got an excessive speeding penalty on entry. Belk goes from this lead way out of contention. I mean, he was way over speed, almost 15 mile an hour over. And he's still sitting on pit road. Jeffrey Belk's chances of this win have slipped out of his hands.
Yeah, well, this gives us the opportunity to talk about another update to these cars. Is they did change how the brake and the brake heat operates on the performance of these things. So, Gen 6 car, we did not have to worry about getting heat into these brakes for them to work at their optimum performance. But with these next gen cars, that is something we have to worry about. But with this latest update, they did make it a little bit more forgiving. And the brakes do work a little bit better when they're still cold, but you still got to be careful. And I think after a long run like he just had, I think maybe the 2 laps prior to coming in, maybe trying to get some heat built up into him a little bit more than what they may already have in there. To help you get slowed down for pit road. But the other thing about it is it may not have even been the brakes at all. It could have just been the fact that getting onto pit road at Atlanta Motor Speedway is one of the most difficult pit roads to get on. It's that angle is not very friendly, and then the banking transition from the racing surface to through the apron is very, very difficult. So this pit road is pretty tough to get onto.
Not only a tough track, but also a tough pit road. This place has always been known to be super tricky and always have to stay on your P's and Q's. And right now, it's Zach Scott up front in the 43 machine. He is still yet to pit here, I believe, from this lead. I'll have to check that. No, he did pit there on 76. So this right here is our leader at the moment. He's got Jeffrey Belk there who's going to go by on those new tires, who is going to be getting his lap back there, but could have been possibly fighting for the lead there if didn't have that mistake, but now going to have to be trying to make his way back up with a 24 there into the wall. Keep falling as he goes around our leader to get his lap back. So now 13 cars on this lead lap. Albert Reed still yet to get his lap back as he has just come out of pit road this latest time here on lap 79. I think he might have waited a little too long, Brian, here, because right now breaking this race down, I mean, we're still this is a 50-lap race, so I guess he's going to break it up into 25-lap segments because he's still got a set of tires in that 3-can.
Yeah, I'm with you, Zach. I think he waited a little bit too long. I think, splitting up the 50 into 2 25-lap runs, I don't think that's enough time to try to gain back the time that you lost in the run prior. So, but of course, we'll have to see. Maybe he's holding back a little bit of speed, and he's waiting for that last 25 lap run to really, put it down out there on the track. But very good to get that, that lap back, being on the lead lap, and yeah, we've got a strategy race right now. A lot of these guys pretty spread out, and it's all going to be about managing that pace, managing those tires, and making the right call as to what lap you're going to pit on.
Right call is going to have to be the one they make for sure here, my friend, is we're seeing a lot of different strategies play out. And, yeah, I got to say, Zach Scott, he took his last set of tires. So, Scott is out there on his last set. Luis Addison, he still has a set. So, if I'm someone like Albert Reed who needs to make up almost really over a lap even on Luis Addison, who is in second place, I mean, a lap and a quarter almost, he, the big thing for me that look there is, if I'm Luis Addison, if I get to lap 35, I can come down pit road, strap on a new set of tires there. It's just going to build that gap even more between him and Reed before Reed comes down, possibly on, 30 to 25 to go. So it's going to be a long, long road for the guys who didn't take tires, I believe, at that stage. It's possibly looking like that stage was possibly the right time to just get that pit stop done due to the fact that, you could have technically a free pit stop and not lose time there to take tires, while under green flag scenarios, taking tires is a little bit longer than taking fuel.
You stole the words right out of my mouth, because at lap 35, I was kind of under the impression that it was going to be better to have fresher tires later in the race. But you're exactly right. That lap 35 competition caution is essentially a free pit stop. So, and that saves, gosh, probably 20-30 seconds, which is kind of exactly what we're seeing on the intervals right now. So look, hindsight is 2020, and I think taking tires on lap 35 was the right call to make.
Yeah, I think this race also the first, with this build, and we had major smoke on the back straightaway. Did not see what that was for, but you could see it on our screens there. It was a pretty much a smoke cloud on the back straightaway there, and it's actually still sitting there. So that may have been from either a car expiring engine-wise or a little bit of an incident there on the back straightaway, but we still have green flag laps here transpiring at Atlanta. And, I think, like I was going back to what I was saying, Brian, is, this race here is the first race with this new build. These guys could be going off of experience from the last, season where, we had a competition caution. I didn't, take tires at that stage. The tires plateau. There's so many different things that play into that factor that I think the plateauing the tires made it easier to do things like that, not take tires under that caution, due to the fact that you knew at some point you were going to even out those guys that did take those tires. But now we're seeing that continuing fall off. It's not good to have a different set of tires than your competition, as it's just time given up. And I tell you what, like I said, until the last 10 laps of this race, we're not really going to know how this all plays out. I mean, Zach Scott, he's opened up about an 8.5 second lead over Rob Lowell, who's took his next set of tires there in the 21. And I mean, it's just it's going to be very, very wild to see how this all shakes up. I don't know who's in the perfect spot, but right now Zach Scott, he's got to definitely be feeling good. But again, he doesn't have a set of tires left.
Yeah, although I think I'm liking the strategy of taking the one set at lap 35 and then taking another set as soon as possible, and then making that last run your long run, because you're able to build up just a massive gap that even though we don't have the tire plateauing anymore, I don't think you put new tires on with 20 to go, you only got 20 laps to make those things work, whereas if you put them on earlier, you have 50 laps to make them work. So, I really like the spot that Zach Scott is sitting in right now.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you there, too. It's going to be very, very, very interesting once it all plays out. And, right now, what I'm seeing here, Luis Addison, he's coming off a pit road in the 20 right now. Did he just take his final stop of the race for fuel and tires? And that's a very interesting point to pit there. I mean, with almost 40 laps to go here in this race, he must feel very confident to make it on fuel from there. I don't feel that confident, but we will see, Brian, how that shakes out. The 20 of Luis Aston. I think that's the right call, though. If you're him, stop the bleeding and get in as soon as possible to get a new set of tires, because the sooner he does that, the more time he'll be able to gain on those drivers up ahead of him.
And of course, we had calculated, our fuel mileage tonight to be around lap 30 or around 38 laps. But there's so many variables that go into this now, especially with this next gen car where you have to lift considerably, especially here at Atlanta. So, the amount of time that you're off throttle, that plays a lot into how many laps you can go. So, I think even though he's maybe 2 laps outside of the window that we think, he's going to be able to save quite a bit of fuel. And, I think he could make 40 laps work.
We'll have to see we'll just have to see how that works out. I mean, with how much, like you said, with how much they're lifting here, how much fall throughs, those numbers, like you said, could be skewed a little bit. So he must feel confident, I gotta say, in that toy machine if he comes down that early. We'll have to see what it does. And again, like I said, it just stops the bleeding to Zach Scott, because right now, Luis Aston, 32.74, Zach Scott, 33.21. So, I mean, you're seeing major amounts of time being gained back from that 20 machine to our leader of the 43. And, I think that's going to be the critical point when it all comes down and shakes out to the very, very end, as we got Lowell and Cato up to the second and third spot with those teammates. Baker's up the fourth, Barefoot in fifth. Great runs from a lot of these guys throughout this field.
Yeah, and just kind of going back to these updates on these cars and the kind of race we're having tonight. Gotta say, I love it. I love the different strategies. Love the way these cars are racing. These guys are able to make things happen, and part of that is because they're on such different ages of tires. But really like what I'm seeing out of these guys tonight.
Yeah, Greg, it is some great racing. You gotta compliment these guys, because this is a tough track. We have really, other than really our competition cars, we've only seen one yellow. So, these guys have kept it clean and green. And look at this, pit stops happening too. Again here, Rob Lowell coming down that 21 machine. Looks like Gene Cato gonna follow suit in the 8. Those two, the teammates, gonna come down and get their final service done to this race car for the final time. We'll see. What does Lowell have in his bag of tricks? Does he have a set of tires? I'm unsure. I haven't been able to follow his strategy as well as I could the others. He is jacking up his car in that 21 machine right now, putting tires on it. I tell you what, I love this for Lowell. He might be in the best shot of anybody to go out there and get this thing done. Rob Lowell and Gene Cato there leaving pit road at the exact same time.
Yeah, with having that fresh set of tires here with 35 laps to go. 35 laps is the perfect balance of not too long of a run, but it's long enough to where you can get things done if you're quick enough. And I do believe Rob Lowell is quick enough to make those tires count here in the last 35 laps.
Yeah, this is gonna be fun to see, because he's gonna have to run down Luis Addison. Addison's coming out of 4 right now, as Lowell is going through the middle of 3 and 4. So right now, about a half a straightaway to a 3/4 of a straightaway lead for that 20 over the 21. Those two will be the first of the drivers that have pitted for their final set of tires. And it's gonna be wild to see how this all plays out. But right now, pit stops all playing out here throughout these final portions of this race. We're coming down to 30 to go. What better time here than to hit us with a butt kicker, crank it up here as these drivers continue to stay green here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Let's crank it up. was there, brought to you by ButtKicker. Thank you again to ButtKicker for being a proud sponsor. But we're on board. Our leader, Zach Scott, in this 43 machine. He is yet to hit pit road for his final time of the night. I think his pit stop here, Brian, most likely, like we've discussed before, going to be a splash. He's not going to be coming down anytime soon. He's going to be looking to stretch this as far as he possibly can, take the least amount of fuel as possible. Or maybe if he knows exactly how much fuel he needs to get to that end, he might come down a little bit early and just take that splash a little bit earlier.
Yeah, well, and the other good thing about doing a strategy like this is right now he has everybody from fifth on back a lap down. Well, and now with Albert Reed pinning, make that fourth position back a lap down or more. So if a caution comes out at this point as a little bit of trouble there, but if a caution comes out at this point, there's only 3 cars on the lead lap, and I think that sets him up pretty good.
Yeah, speaking of cautions, we need to give a shout to iRacing iFlag, one of the best visual flag systems out there. They have 64 LEDs that gives you all types of information, not only from yellow flags, blue flags, green flags, white flags, black flags included, and even that checker flag, but also many other details such as a virtual spotter that can give you right, left, inside, many other details. But if you head on over to iRacingIFlag.com, they got many products to go along with that, such as pit dashboards there to go with your iRacing iFlag. So head on over there, use that promo code FreakyFast2022, and that'll let them know that we sent you over there. But thank you again to iRacing iFlag for being a proud sponsor here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. We're still out here making laps here at the 802 Cup Series. We're waiting for this strategy to play out, though. This is so critical. We're kind of in limbo right now. We got about a 23-second lead from Zach Scott back to Keith Fall, Mike Killenbeck 32 seconds back in third, but the rest of the field under that 1 lap down mark. But it's going to come down to those final really 10 to 15 laps before we really figure out what the gaps are. It could be a last 10 laps pass for the lead even for this. So I'm very, very interested how it plays out. Looks like our leader, though, coming down the pit road, as we've seen here, the 24 Keith Fallen hit pit road. The next time by is Zach Scott in the 43. He gets himself to pit road. Luckily for him, does a good job entering, does not speed, and gets that car nice and woed up there on the entry. So great job for Zach Scott there, as he's just going to come and try to take a splash of fuel here to end out his run here tonight and see where he comes out. This is going to really be our telltale sign, Brian, once they exit pit road here.
Yeah, and based off of his stop, I think he may have taken that full 60% that he's able to take, which gives him a little bit extra fuel in case we get some green-white checkers. He won't have to come down pit road and top off for that. But now is the time when we will see where he's going to come out and, what kind of pace he has compared to all of the guys behind him. So definitely in the closing stages of this race, and we're going to get a clearer picture of, who's made the right choices throughout this whole race.
I tell you what, looking at the picture right now, Rob Lowell in a great position right now. He is only a couple seconds back of Zach Scott, who's right now just crossing or going into turn 1. Lowell going into turn 1 now. Lowell's got by Addison, who just came off a pit road again. So Luis Addison, he must have to come down and top that car back off. Major mistakes from that 20s camp if he's made that wrong call.
Yeah, maybe maybe he came in 3-4 laps too early and is having to come in and top off, and that definitely ruins a race for you. As we see Rob Lowell looking on the inside, coming out of fourth, crossing the start-finish line side by side with the 43, looking to take that lead away.
Yeah, I said this was going to be a pass possibly with 10 to go. Never mind that. It's a pass here with more than 20 to go. Lowell to the lead here. He's on fresher tires. Scott now going to try to have to hold on to what he has in that 43 machine. Man, oh man, this has changed the whole outcome, whole picture of this race, Brian. Right now, I think it's these two about 22 seconds ahead of the next driver, Keith Fallen.
Yeah, I think, I have a few laps left in this race, but just with that gap between second and third, and with the pace that Rob Lowell is running, I'd have to say that with this race being a strategy race, I think he was playing chess when everybody else was playing checkers.
I'd have to agree with you, my friend. He's master class this one because personally, with the pace he was running at some points during the race, I was confused on what tire set he was. I was not sure. Did he take a tire set there while I wasn't able to see? But he clearly didn't. He was just able to make his stuff last. And the crazy thing is, this is what he said his strength and ability is, and that's kind of what clicked in my brain when this race started tonight. Was Lowell, he made it out to us. Hey man, this is my strength, that I can save tires, make them last, and do the right thing with them. And this build, I think it's going to play right into his hands if he continues to do this week in and week out. Better watch out for this 21 because, man, he is looking very, very strong here with this gap just continuing to build with those newer tires. And I think it's only going to continue to build at that.
Yeah, he's played this out very, very well, continuing to build that lead here in the late stage of this race. Yeah, Zach Scott doesn't really have anything for him at this point, and anyone else, in the field, if they're faster than Rob Lowell, they have nowhere near the amount of time they need to try to catch him. So, barring a caution, I think Rob Lowell has really kind of cinched this one up.
Yeah, I believe the same thing there, Brian. And I tell you, a driver who just had some major damage on his car, and it was possibly at one point looking to be, the person that had the best chance to possibly challenge Rob Lowe for the win. That was Jeffrey Belk. He just gets into the wall, has to bring his car to pit road, get that fast repair done on that machine, and he's going to continue to lose out. So Belk and Addison, both drivers who've had great runs here tonight at Atlanta, their races go up in smoke in the very end. And drivers such as David Lamaga up into the top 6. I mean, Keith Fallen up into the top 3. Great runs for these group of guys. It's really cool to see that.
Yeah, and just kind of looking through the field right now, seeing some of these guys. Albert Reed had a kind of the opposite strategy of Zach Scott right there, sitting 4th place. David Lamaga he's really done well for himself. Started 19th here tonight and is running 6th right now. As well as Mike Killingback, a couple of positions behind him, started 15th and running 9th. So, some of these guys maybe didn't hit the nail on the head with strategy, but still able to come out of here with a pretty decent finish.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to see this. And I tell you what I'm watching right now is pretty interesting. Also is, Keith Fallen. He's in this 24, so along with Albert Reed, they pitted pretty late here compared to a lot of drivers. Reed on 103, Fallen on 105. Those two in pretty good positions right now to gain some time. Right now we're seeing a 31.95 from the 24 of Fallen here that we're looking at, while our leader is running a 31.61. So the big thing that kind of brings up in my picture of mind is if a caution was to come out right now, this would fall in the hands of Keith Fallen and Albert Reed. They would have the freshest tires in the field, and really everybody having used up all their sets here, they would be in the catbird seat to win this thing.
Well, yeah, and looking at the pace right now, I think I might have spoke too soon. If Keith Fallen can put some really, really good laps down, coming to the checkered flag here, he might get pretty close. If I'm looking at these lap times right, he's running about a second quicker than Rob Lowell in first place. So he's at that pace, he's got just enough time to get to the bumper.
Yeah, and they got a little bit of time to work with him too. Even. So we'll see how that works out. And I mean, it's even a 33.69 to a 32.19. I mean, that's a second and a half. So he's gaining at a pretty rapid rate there, and we'll see if that continues to climb down. Scott there having a little trouble with traffic there, runs a 34 flat that time. We'll see exactly what Fallen does. I'll be watching out for that as we're watching our leader here, as you're seeing the lap times being shown there between the group, and you can see Fallen just continuing to make that gap fall, because wow, it's a second and a half almost difference each and every lap.
Yeah, see, and this is exactly what we said. We weren't really gonna know exactly who was sitting in the best seat up until the very end, and here we are with about 12 to go, and the story has shifted a little bit with Keith Fallen catching Rob Lowe, and see how much he gains this time. Was a 12.14. Now that gap is 11.5 seconds, so still just knocking chunks out of this lead.
Knocking chunks at it. Yes, he is indeed. And I gotta be questioning. I'm looking at Lowell's pace. Has he kind of went into conserve mode? Because if you think about him, he's got that about 11.5 second lead back last time to Keith Fallen. Here as they come to they'll be coming to 10 to go next time by. I think at this rate here, he can, strive to save just a little bit of tire as Fallen takes about 8/10 out of him that time there. That's not going to be enough for Fallen to catch up to him. So, if I'm Rob Lowell, you got to think if a caution does come out, you want to have a little bit of something to at least possibly fire off and have a chance at it. So maybe possibly gone into a little bit of a conserve mode compared to such as Zach Scott, who's probably trying to get everything out of that 43, but it's going to be tough for him because it's about a 5 second gap now between those two as Keith Fallen continuously clicking off great lap times. That time right there, 32.99. Last time by for Scott, 33.71. So it's not about a second anymore. It's these differences are closing in. As you can see, these tires go away quickly.
Yeah, I think Zach Scott's tires, those tires on that 43 car, they've had it. They're done. They're trying to clock out now. So he's just having to manage whatever he has left, which at this point is not much. And you hate to be in that position. Nobody likes to be out there on some worn out tires. But Keith Fallen now that gap to Rob Lowell, our leader, 9.5 seconds. So at this rate, he's kind of running out of time, but he may have a shot at trying to get second place here from Zach Scott.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to see here, but I tell you what else is going to be fun to see here with 9 laps to go. We got post-race interviews coming up right after the race. Make sure you don't tune away. You're going to want to hear how these drivers formulated their strategies, how they figured out how to get these cars to the very end of this race. You never know. We might get a caution to shake it up and have a little bit of drama here in the final portion of the 802 Cup Series race number 2 here in Atlanta. What a night we've had. But Brian, I tell you what, the gap is closing down, but it's not closing down as rapidly. Keep falling. I don't know if he's going to have enough time to even get Zach Scott here at this point.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be close, especially he did have to pass the 41, 47 right there, so that's going to kind of hurt his lap time there a little bit. We'll see what the gap is now, 8.77 to a 5.9, so about 3 seconds back from Zach Scott. And with 6-7 laps to go here, you're wanting to be about a half a second quicker at this point. So time is running out for him.
I'm running out indeed. Here's look at that 43. He's running a little bit upper groove there on this line and trying to make something happen. Here's this 24 as he goes by the lap car there, and he's trying to click off the laps here. 6 to go here. It's about a 2.3 second gap. He may be able to get to him. It was a 33.81 last time for Zach Scott, 33.26 for Keith Fallen. Our leader, though, Rob Lowell, don't worry about him, 33.61. He's got about a 6 second gap back to this group here. We'll see here in the final 6 what can go down, but it's 5 to go as Rob Lowell crosses the line and going to go into 1.
Yeah, Rob Lowell, managed his tires pretty much to perfection this race, and definitely showing in the last few laps of this race, able to maintain that lead as that time by Keith Fallen not able to get a whole lot into that gap between him and Zach Scott.
Yeah, not able to get too much. It was 6/10 that last time right there. That still mathematically would work to get there, but getting there is one thing, like they say, but passing is the other. And Brian, I tell you, what does Scott need to do, and what's Fallen got to do here? Because it's 2 different agendas. Fallen's gonna have to or Scott's gonna have to defend. Fallen's gonna have to get aggressive here with 4 to go coming to 3 this next time by.
Well, yeah, I think if I'm Keith, I've driven Zach Scott down. I've chased him down from pretty far back. I think if I've got the time, I'm gonna try to make a respectful pass once, and if that doesn't work, it might use the bumper a little bit because don't have a lot of time left, and he's closed this gap down so much. So um, definitely got to try to get that second position as hard as you can.
Here he comes. 3 laps to go. Scott a little bit loose off of 2. Falling, closing the gap down. It's Lowell out front. He's got about a 6.5-second gap. No concerns from him out front. It's this group back here. 7 seconds from behind our leader. It's the battle for second here as it's 2 laps to go. Fallen looking to the inside. Gonna look for that run heading off into 1. Can Scott defend here in the final 2 laps? We'll have to see what he has, but Fallen has had the pace. Scott falling away here as the run goes off, but it's side by side coming off of 2, but Fallen with the great run in the 24. He's going to clear the 43, take that second position with 2 to go, and take us down into 3 and 4. But up front, it's going to be the 21 of Rob Lowell out of turn 4. He's going to look up to the flag stand for Barney. We're going to see it. That's right. It's the freaky fast white flag here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway for the Hot Atlanta 130 here at the 802 Cup Series. What a night it's been for Rob Lowell. He rounds out of turn 2. He's just going to look for this last half a lap here to win in Atlanta.
Yeah, I mean, perfect race. Like I said earlier, he's been playing chess when everybody else is playing checkers.
Chess when they were playing checkers. Rob Lowell, race number 2, comes back after disappointment in Daytona. He's going to get his first win of the season here at the 802 Cup Series. The 21 of Rob Lowell wins it here tonight at Atlanta. Keith Fallen going to come home now in second, and Zach Scott going to bring it home in third. 7.5 seconds back, separating our top 3. What a drive for those drivers, and what a night it's been here at the 802 Cup Series, Brian.
Yeah, I mean, not the race that we're typically used to seeing where everybody's on top of each other and we're having to call action in the front, in the middle, and the back, and, people upside down and whatnot. But, one of these strategy races, not even a fuel mileage race, because that really wasn't the issue tonight. The issue tonight was tires. And, everybody made the best of what they could with them. And it was a fun race to call. Definitely like these strategy races.
Love the strategy. Definitely love to see it. Look at this 21 here. He's going to do a little bit of celebrating here on the front straightaway here as they come down to the Geico restart zone. And what a night it has been here at the 802 Cup Series. He does the famous Polish victory lap around the track for 1 lap backwards here. But do not go anywhere, anybody. We're going to head now to get our top 3 drivers up here, try to get them up in the booth, have a conversation with those drivers about their run here tonight in the 802 Cup Series at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. We'll be right back. Don't go nowhere. All right, we are back here, everybody, for our post-race interviews after tonight's hot Atlanta 130. What a night it was here. As tonight's race was brought to you by G-Stone Motors. Thank you to G-Stone Motors for being the sponsor for tonight's race here at the 802 Cup Series. We're now going to bring it in here and hear what happened for our top three. Is we got Zach Scott in the 43 here, our third place man. Hey, Zach, it's Zach up in the booth. You got a copy, buddy?
Yes, sir. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. I tell you what, a heck of a run here tonight for yourself, bud. Starting in that ninth position, quickly worked your way up to that front, and man, the strategy all over the place tonight. Of course, with the amount of set of tires, take us through how you were able to work your way through tonight and bring home that top three, man.
I guess, try to be as patient as I could. I mean, I knew I had to have some kind of strategy with, the sets of tires that we were allotted. So I just was patient and I just methodically worked my way up. And I just feel like if I would have maybe did a little bit different with my strategy on the tires, I may have had the win, but Rob had a little bit better of a strategy.
Hey, Zach, it's Brian in the booth. And, every time we come to Atlanta, got to talk about this old surface and got to talk about the lack of grip. And, with the update to these next gen cars this week, just, want to get a sense of how that car drove tonight and how it changed throughout the race and as the run went on.
Well, I mean, they started out a little tight, and as that run went on, once they started getting some wear on them, they was trying to hang the back out, or sorry, the back end out of it pretty hard. So once you got a little bit of wear on them tires, it was hard to keep the rear end under it.
Yeah, it definitely looked like that, Zach. I tell you what, man, congrats on third here tonight in Atlanta. It was a great run for yourself up there leading some laps here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. But before we let you get out here and get prepared for next week, anybody you want to send a shout out to, man?
No, actually, not really. But I just want to say thanks to everybody who runs this league. They're great people, and I appreciate them giving me the chance to join in and have some fun.
Awesome stuff, Zach. Well, man, I tell you what, congrats again on finishing third here tonight. We'll catch you at Bristol next week, man.
All right, thanks, guys. Have a good one.
All right, everybody. That was your third place driver here tonight, the 43 of Zach Scott. Great run for him. Now we move on to another legendary number from the 43, now to the 24, Keith Fallen. Let's hear from him as he was the man doing the charge in there at the end. It had to be a pretty fun run there in the final 20 laps. Let's hear from this 24 machine. Hey, Keith, it's Zach up here in the booth, man. Congrats on second. Do you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, man. Appreciate it.
Hey, I tell you what, Keith, great drive, man. There, we seen that you took the tires there late in the going there. 105 there is your final set. And man, what a drive there in the final. Really 20 to 30 laps there to get up into that second position. That had to be a pretty interesting drive there, running them guys down from that far back.
Yeah, that was my whole plan. I wanted to take tires as late as possible because the tire fall off on these things at Atlanta are pretty big. So I waited till 105 and got the tires, and I pushed the car hard as I could and just ran out of lap time. But I'm definitely proud of the Captain Jack Chevy. It did really good.
Hey Keith, it's Brian in the booth, and just talking about strategy when you go into this race and you see that it's 130 laps and we're at 60% fuel and you only have two sets of tires waiting for you on pit road for the whole race. How do you, did you go into this race and have like a set strategy, or did it kind of change as the race went on?
Yeah, well, my strategy was when we first started, I was going to try to at least make it to lap 50. I wasn't going to race anybody. I was just going to, race the track, as they say. And I was going to try to make it to lap 50. And then about halfway through, we had that one early caution. So I stopped and got gas, and then the competition caution. And I got gas on that one. I was like, I might as well just ride this run out. So I basically just ran it till the tank was empty. And then I knew I wanted to pit after lap 100.
And it definitely worked out well for you, Keith. I tell you, man, again, like I said, congrats on second here tonight in Atlanta. Next week, head off to Bristol, though. The definite going to be some mayhem there, man. How you feel about heading off into the half mile there?
Like Bristol, any short tracks I'm a pretty big fan of. It's all about managing tires there also, so that's going to be fun to do. And we'll see how we do at Bristol.
Yeah, it's going to be really fun to see there as the last great Coliseum there at Bristol is going to be a great race here, just like tonight was at Atlanta. But Keith, again, congrats on second, man. But before we let you get out of here and go celebrate, anybody want to send a shout to?
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to my sponsor, Captain Jack Smokehouse. It's my dad's restaurant. A shout out to him. He's taught me a lot about racing ever since I was a little kid. I also want to give a shout out to my mom. Just found out a couple of weeks ago she is cancer free, which is awesome. And then a shout out to my lovely wife. I love you, and I'll be in there in a minute.
Awesome stuff, Keith. Well, I'll tell you what, congrats again on second, and we will catch you next week in Bristol, my friend.
I appreciate it. Appreciate the broadcast.
All right, everybody. That was your second place driver here tonight at the Atlanta Motor Speedways for the Hot Atlanta 130. But I tell you what, now we're going to move on to our winner tonight. That's the 21. Yes, sir. Rob Lowell, first win of the season, second race of the season to get it done. But man, he told us before this was the guy to watch out for with saving tires, and he was right because to Atlanta tonight, he made the tires work better than anybody. Let's hear from this 21. Hey, Rob, is Zach up here in the booth? You got a copy, man.
Yeah, I do. How you doing tonight, guys?
Hey, doing great, Rob. But I got to say, first off, congratulations, man, on the win here tonight. Played it perfectly with that strategy, made the tires work better than anybody. And I mean, I don't want to say there's no foreshadowing, but man, you told us before that this was your strength is saving tires and coming in here with 3 sets of tires tonight. You did the best, making those tires work the best. So take us through your night, man. What a job to get the win.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so I think I told you last week that my plan was to qualify up front and then I would work myself back into the, low teens during the first run, and I just focused on saving tires. My team, the Wolfpack Racing team, Johnny Barker and Gene Cato and Jeff Barefoot, our strategy was save tires and take our first set on lap 60. And I came in on lap third of the comp caution, and I looked at my right front. It was 73, and I almost waffled on it. I almost called an audible, and I said, no, I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to ride it out to lap 60, and I'm glad I did because came in lap 60. Knew I wanted to split that last run. I wanted to go 35 laps on each set of tires to get the most good I could get out of them. And lap 60, we came in and put 4 new feel goods on it and made a big chunk up there. But then the field's stringed out. I was able to run my line, minimize the amount I'm having to turn the front tires, be able to be really easy on the throttle up off, and we just saved tires from there on out.
Hey, Rob, it's Brian in the booth, and looking at the schedule of the, remaining 10 races, 4 of them are a mile and a half. So you got Charlotte, Homestead, Kansas, and Las Vegas. And, you did get your first win of the season here tonight at a mile and a half. And, of those other mile and a halves, do you think you could, with just the tremendous performance you put on here tonight, do you think you could maybe sweep the mile and a halves for the season?
No, this is way too good group of guys. I got a couple of guys on my Wolfpack Racing team, Gene and Johnny and Jeff there that can they'll come up here and steal one on a mile and a half before it's over. And Dave Lamaga, Mike Killenbeck, Al Reed, all those guys that have been here, season in, season out, they're going to be right there. And we got some new guys that, Lewis and Zach and Keith, they showed tonight that they're going to be pushing us too. So I'm just looking for top 5s, top 10s, and if I can come out here to top 5 each week, I'll be happy.
Yeah, definitely a good start to that plan, Rob. And man, here a win tonight at Atlanta. Next week I head off to Bristol. Definitely going to be a little bit of a different tell there, but also a place that you got to make the tires last. So how you feel about heading off into the concrete half mile there?
Before the update, I felt really good. Last year I gave one away at Bristol. That one haunts me. I have not turned a lap there since the update, so tomorrow night I'll start turning some laps at Bristol, and we'll see what it looks like. But if there's one on the calendar, if there's 2 on the calendar that were circled that I want to win this year, Bristol will be one, and the other one's Homestead. So, got a little motivation going into next week.
Well, it's gonna be fun to watch that motivation heading into next week, man. You definitely got the confidence and all that rolling into there for sure, Rob. But before we let you get out of here and go celebrate your win, man, anybody want to send a shout to?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to thank my sponsor, G Stone Motors, Ford dealership in Woodbury, Vermont. It's always nice to win on your sponsors night. I work on their race cars in real life, so 27 years doing that. So to park the Ford Mustang G Stone Motors car in Victory Lane tonight is pretty special on G Stone Motors night here in the 802 Cup Series League. I also want to thank everyone in the league for all the patience they put in this week with us while we switched stuff over. I want to thank the admins, Dave, Marty, Eli, Wayne. Um, they've really stepped up, and we're on a good foot, and we're moving forward, and we're really happy. I want to thank you guys at Freaky Fast. We really appreciate all you're doing for us too.
Well, Rob, we appreciate all you guys do for us, man. It's been a fun time here through the first 2 weeks, and we can't wait to head off to Bristol next week, man. Again, like I said, go celebrate that win, and congrats on it. We'll catch you next week at the
Yeah, hey
World's
guys,
Last Great Coliseum.
I forgot one thing. I want to thank my
Oh, good.
Wolfpack race. I
Oh,
want to
yeah.
thank my Wolfpack racing teammates, Gene Cato, Johnny Barker, Jeff Barefoot. We put some time in practicing this week, and we came up with this strategy together. We tried it a bunch of different ways this week, and without those three guys and our practices this week, I wouldn't have had the showing I had tonight. Johnny got nabbed speeding coming down pit road. Gene had another unfortunate little incident there that cost him a top three, but we easily could have had, I think, a top swept the top three tonight. They were on the same strategy as I was. So thank them guys. They've helped me a ton this year.
Well, awesome stuff, Rob. Like I said, man, you got to shout those teammates. It's very important. And like I said, congrats on the win here tonight. But we'll catch you next week at Bristol, my friend.
Sounds good.
All right, everybody. That was your race winner here tonight for the Hot Atlanta 130, brought to you by G Stone Motors. It's the G Stone Motors car winning that race. Like you said, no better way for your sponsored car to win the sponsored race. So that's great to see here for the second race of the season for the 802 Cup Series. As we bring up the race results, we're going to run through our Freaky Fast top 10 here. Is this Rob Lowe, like I said, bringing home that first victory of the season? It's going to be Keith Fallen in second. Third is going to go to Zach Scott. Albert Reed's going to bring it back to fourth. Fifth's going to be Mike Killenbeck from that 15th starting position. Eighth's going to be Jason Wiley. Back here in seventh is going to be David Lamaga for our biggest move of the night, starting in that 19th position. Eighth is going to be Jeff Barefoot and Gene Cato there in ninth. And rounding out our Freaky Fast top 10 is Marty Brown. As you look through the rest of the field, definitely some drivers who possibly let one get away here. Now you got to look there in 13th, especially for Luis Addison in that 20 machine. And then also Jeffrey Belk back there in that 15th position in the 54. Both drivers who led laps tonight, but just could not get it done there when it came to pit road. Had some mistakes and miscues. But Brian, what a night we've had here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Cannot wait to head off to Bristol next week, man. Any final thoughts from you before we do head off to Bristol here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway?
Yeah, just like I said before, love a strategy race. Those guys that, unfortunately didn't get the finish that they wanted. It's all about those small mistakes. When you have all these green flag laps, a small mistake will kill you. But going to Bristol next week is going to be very interesting with these next gen cars. I don't think I've seen a race or heard about how these cars handle at Bristol and what the tire wear and the pace is looking like. So it's going to be very new for all of us here in 7 days, and definitely look forward to it because you always got to love a short track.
Always got to love a short track indeed, man. I tell you what, it was a great night here at Atlanta, though. We cannot wait to head off to Bristol next week, back here on a Sunday night, as always, here with the 802 Cup Series. It's been a pleasure to call all the action here tonight. But again, do not forget to hit that like, that subscribe, and that bell notification button so you can know each and every time we go live here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. We got leagues all throughout the week. And next coming up, we have the NAISCC Truck Series there at the Sonoma Raceway. What a race we got heading up for you there. That's going to be a playoff race tomorrow night in the trucks at 8:45. Make sure you tune in there so you don't miss any of that action live here on Freaky Fast. But again, thank you all to everybody who's tuning in tonight. It's been a pleasure to call the action, and thank you to Brian and Robert for calling all the action alongside me tonight. As I always say, love you guys. Stay Freaky Fast.